YouTube's new live stream interface is here, where you as the creator can go live both horizontally and vertically at the same time, completely. You use to make these streams. There's nothing new about the metadata setup for this streaming interface, just to call that out. So once you get into the back end, you'll notice that the for this to make these would any time before utilizing OBS or the streaming service that you use to make these streams. There's nothing new about the metadata setup.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Alexander Volkanovski gets it done against a Teofimo. I've got Teofimo Lopez right here, and I'm kind of watching it at the same time. No. He gets it done against Diego Lopez in the rematch of a fight that, okay, I guess that's why it was happening. Benoit Saint-Denis got him a massive win over Dan Hooker. There's a lot that happened in this card, and I was excited to get to watch some of it. But we are currently also watching along, so if you're watching Shakur versus Teofimo, we're in the second round, and Teofimo just got kind of dropped for a second there, so that was weird. He didn't actually call it a slip, but, we're going into round 3 right now. Anyways, we're here to talk Volkanovski and Diego Lopez. That was a Volkanovski fight. Now, I've got some gripes about Alexander Volkanovski that I don't really care to flesh out here. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm not paying attention to the camera, if I'm slow to the chat. But I'm watching this Lopez fight. This is the fight of the decade, or the half decade. But I watched the fight and I'm kind of like, meh, it wasn't the most incredible of performances from Alexander Volkanovski, but what can you expect against a young, a much bigger guy, and a guy who's almost 37 years old? You follow what I'm saying? There's only so much he can do. And Volkanovski, you go look back, I'm going to pull up Tapology now, but you go and look back and he ain't got no pop. He doesn't hit nobody, and it doesn't hurt anybody, He never hurt, well, he does hurt people, but he never really, hurts, knocks people down. The Yair comes off the headbutt. We got Holloway, the Korean Zombie, washed, couldn't knock out Ortega. Holloway, Aldo. The last real knockout was Chad Mendes. And that was way back, man, if you remember Chad Mendes, 2018. But all in all, I wasn't bored with this performance. I didn't think it was a terrible performance, but I was kind of bored. Last week we had Justin Gaethje and Patty Pimblett. That was a lot to talk about, and there was a lot of fun things that happened in there. This one was kind of more of a part and parcel of what Volkanovski does. This is if you want to know what Alexander Volkanovski is about, this is kind of one of those performances. This is generally how he fights. Did a good job of circling. Diego Lopez, me and Luke Thomas had a video about this early. We talked about the footwork of Diego Lopez, which was slightly improved. I'll give him the credit there. But also, I think Volkanovski is just too smart of a fighter for Diego Lopez. He kept Lopez at bay. He didn't let Diego Lopez kind of dictate things like he needed to. Volkanovski was truly the one dictating when and where the fight happened. And that was the biggest key to his victory. That was the largest key to his victory. Footwork, again, fantastic. Circling into the power hand, and everybody's always perplexed, why is he circling into the power hand as a southpaw? You generally want to see it stepping to the outside, but what he's doing is lining up that cross. And he really landed them a couple times on Diego Lopes and stunned Diego a couple times too. So, the circling to the right was a good thing. And man, this is a fun fight. Goodness, Teofimo was all in his face. But you get a good sense of kind of what Diego Lopes was limited to. Alexander Volkanovski very clearly was the smarter fighter, better footwork, circling to the right, the whole 9 yards. You know how it goes with Alexander Volkanovski. He's going to kick you low. And Diego made him stop kicking for a little while, too. There was rounds like 3 and 4. Diego Lopes started to really kind of counter the low kicks that Volkanovski was throwing naked. And once Volkanovski figured out, oh, wait, that's not a good path to victory, he stopped throwing them for a little while. But then round 5, he kind of got back to it. There's not much to say on it aside from this is like what Alexander Volkanovski does. I think we are past his prime. And like that's kind of not a fair thing to say because he's 37 in a sport where Father Time is undefeated. It's not fair to say Volkanovski's past his prime when we're seeing just how great he is, and despite being past his prime, like how much better than everybody else he is. And he wasted a lot of, I say wasted, like a lot of his prime was taken up by Max Holloway, obviously, the 3 fights. And we kind of didn't get to see him against a weaker featherweight division, if you want to know the truth. There was like Calvin Kattar up there and Giga Chikadze, but none of them like ever really broke through. So he was forced to fight the Brian Ortegas and the Korean Zombies and all of these kind of legends. But they were all past their prime too. But this past your prime Volkanovski, he's a lot more interesting because he's still fighting at a very high level. Like Diego Lopes is still a very good fighter. We saw him knock out John Silva, who just beat Arnold Allen, To say Alexander Volkanovski's past his prime is to say, like, he's not... It takes away from his greatness. This fight's getting good, guys. Teofimo Lopes and Shakur are going at it. Somebody's getting a good fight out of Teofimo finally. I think what he's doing now is a testament to just how good Alexander Volkanovski really was. He's got the win over Aldo, he's got the win over Chad Mendez, and win over Max Holloway. And that's like, okay, that's your meat and potatoes. But now he's like future-proofing his resume. He's fighting tomorrow's champions, and like there's the Movsar Vloyev and Lerone Murphy coming up. Those 2 guys have a shot to be champions someday. There's a lot of options out there for him. I just find it hard to just discount, like, oh, he's 36 years old. Like, yeah, or 37 now. He's a smart fighter. He's incredibly smart. Diego Lopes kind of lost the plot here, I guess you would say. He just couldn't get good enough in between the first and second fight. And that is no, like, knock on him because he's facing down the barrel of somebody great. He's facing down somebody great. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I'm all into this boxing match. If you're watching Teofimo Lopes and Shakur Stevenson, chime in. He is truly one of the best to ever do it. Up there with Aldo and Holloway. And you could probably put him past Holloway because of, the defenses and beating Max Holloway 3 times. So it's down to Volkanovski, who has a loss to Topuria. Short notice. There's kind of an asterisk there. And you have Jose Aldo, probably one of the top 5 MMA fighters of all time. So they're good company to be in. Really good company to be in for him. And if they're going to do Lerone Murphy and Movsar next, so be it. The winner of that will be kind of, who Volkanovski fights next. It's obviously got to be who it is. Benoit Saint-Denis beat the brakes off of Dan Hooker, guys. Like, absolutely beat the snot out of him. Hooker had a really good first round, was doing a good job kind of just keeping Benoit Saint-Denis away with the low kick or with the teep up the middle. A lot of that, I think, played into his advantage going into this fight, and it showed that Benoit Saint-Denis, as one-dimensional as he is still incredibly tough. He weathered that storm. Like, he got hurt by those body shots to Hooker, and that really kind of is what set him apart. He managed to get in. He managed to get Dan Hooker on the ground twice in the first round and in the second round, and kind of beat up on him. So all in all, good fight for them. We'll have some more stuff on the podcast tomorrow. We'll be talking about all of this. So guys, I think I'm gonna call it early tonight. I'm under the weather. I don't know if you can tell I'm kind of nasally, but I'll be back tomorrow, and we will be talking this. And then on the boxing channel, we're talking this boxing match I'm watching, Lopez versus Stevenson.